Spincast Cycling Show. I'm Brian Kellison. Lisa Vries, Brian White, Casey Shum. Not on a boat. Anyone? Perfect. Motivation. Let's just get into it. I'm not as motivated as I was a week ago. How's everyone else's motivation?
It comes and goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been better lately, but that was more medically related than it was
Right.
like fitness related.
Yeah.
I was into it, and then I got caught up with work, and then I was like, oh, I'm going to come back. And I had an email. I was going to get on Bike Terra, actually, because I built there's a lot of new features on Bike Terra that are slowly piquing my interest more and more, especially like, hey, I want to go do this thing outside. Because I rode outside on Wednesday. Usually I do a group ride outside, and I did a ride with my neighbor, not with the group, just rode around. And I'm like, oh, maybe I would ride up to, there's a mountain here called Mount Hamilton, like an observatory. So it's like it's in this Tour of California. They used to do it in Tour of California. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'll come back and do a ride. And I got an email right before getting on Bike Terra after I built the course to do that ride. Zwift. Welcome back to Zwift, Brian. I forgot that I had paused it for like 3 months, and then it doesn't let you pause it for as long as you want. It's not like an indefinite pause anymore. It's like a maybe you can do like 8 months, and I only did 3 months. I was like, oh, maybe if somebody wants to come back to Zwift, whatever. So I rode Zwift 2 days ago, and it is definitely social network. I looked for a race, no races. Well, there was a race, but there was no one involved in the race. So I did a group ride. It was a 60-minute little thing in France, and it was like super fun. And I just was like, I don't want to be the fun police today, but I'm going to be the fun police. And I was like, I'm like typing. I'm like, how do we turn off the squirrel in the back pocket? And everyone's like, oh, you just go into your settings. And I'm like, no. I want to turn off your squirrels in your back pockets because I don't want to see other people's squirrels.
Have you actually looked at the switch for the squirrel? Because it's actually called fun. When you turn it on, it's not yes, it's fun or off. Like if the drop down.
I don't have it because I don't have the right. I don't have the paper mache one, or whatever it is, the flat, like the cutout. And then there's one that's a little doll, and then there's one that's the suffocating little squirrel in your back pocket. And I was like in this group ride, which was a nice group ride. Let me just preface it by saying I did have a good time. It was 60 minutes. It was the stake together thing, so no one could just break off and do their thing. And I was just wanting to stir the pot because I had global chat on, and I'm like, hey, how do you turn off the squirrel? And they're like, why do you not like Scotty? And I'm like, I love Scotty. Is that the name of the squirrel? Scotty's the squirrel. Yeah. I just don't like people bragging that they have a rider list. Or I think I was going to say that, but then I didn't say it. And it's like, I want to turn off people's flair. Like if I go into TGI Fridays and they have flair or tchotchkes, whatever it was in the Office Space, and everyone has the mandatory flair, how do I get people to turn off the flair? That's what I want.
Are you one of those guys that wants to turn off the bike upgrades too? Come on. Like they earned that flair. Let them wear the flair.
Oh, no. You can turn off the bike upgrade. It's just I don't have to view that.
You shouldn't turn off the bike upgrade.
No.
We're upgrading our bikes. We should get to use it wherever the damn well we want to use it.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I want to turn it off from me visually. Like if you have,
we're all turning on our flare now, especially when
if
we're
you have
BK,
if you have the roller skate wheel bike, I want to turn that off. I don't even like the Buffalo bike. It drives me nuts. It's tilting, as they say in pinball.
I'm going to completely go off on a tangent here, but you know what has happened? Anytime. I bet all of you are this way. What's your first thought anytime you see one of the Halo bikes now? Instantly.
Yeah.
They cheated, right?
Yeah.
They hacked it. Like that's instantly.
Yeah, exactly.
Ruined
the
my
only
enjoyment.
person that might legit have it is that Michael Left-Hand that rode 7,000 miles the other
guy
day.
that did the 24-hour thing.
Yeah. And kudos to that guy. And like, I'll be a little bit of fun police with Kellison. Kellison don't want to see a get squirrel. So
you can see the squirrel. I just don't want to see you that you have the squirrel.
It says unofficial. It says he made it unofficially, which I don't know what goes into official, but I think it's kind of strange because say if Casey and his
you got to back up. Who are you talking? I have no idea who you're talking about. Backup.
A guy, Michael Left Hand, did a 24-hour ride raising money for cancer and unofficially broke the indoor record for most miles ridden on a stationary bike.
Was that the guy who was in the Danish shopping mall?
No, that was
he was
Michael
at Zwift headquarters.
Yeah, he was. This was last week. That.
No. This attempt. But what was the previous attempt? The previous attempt. What? No. That was a week-long thing
in a mall.
Was it? Yeah, there was like a week long.
Race across America during 2019 or something.
Okay, but it was something like that. It's an endurance challenge. You're saying there's a new person that did it for charity, right? For whatever, fighting cancer. Don't know have the details on it. Sorry about that. And you're saying that he did an unofficial one and it hasn't been posted as official, or he just did it because of the thing and it's like, hey, I'm doing an unofficial version of it.
We're probably going to make people mad with this conversation, but...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Brian, come on. Just dig this hole deeper, buddy.
Well, basically, if you're making a big deal about and doing this, Zwift had a specific bot. So what's the difference between doing a 24-hour indoor record with a specific pace bot at the pace you want versus back in the day when Casey was testing in 2015 with an AMP Plus bot training behind it? Yeah. So it's kind of like, we just went through this with the bots and all this stuff with the previous month. And now we have this big hoopla about a guy with a bot breaking a record.
So he was on a TT bike, right? So Phil, so he was on a TT bike, but he had a draft.
He had the specialized
on the screenshots
74
on his
Halo
Zwift
bike
thing. He was getting drafted. It was not a TT bike.
Okay, it was not a TT bike. So
he rode a TT bike in real life.
Yeah.
But in the game, he was up on the hoods. He was not in the TT bike position.
All right, I'm gonna.
So kudos to him. He rode more in one day than I rode all month.
I gotta jump in.
I'm
I gotta
just
jump
saying,
in. 2 weeks ago, let me check this if I'm off. We were talking about have fun on all whatever you want to do, have fun. And now I start off the show with no motivation and I'm fun police. And then Brian just buries us even more. Yeah. So let's have some fun talk. Hey, congratulations to this guy. I don't know what his record was. I don't know. I'm sorry.
He did a great thing. I think the question is I think when it comes down to it is, should it be made an official record attempt if Zwift is intentionally putting bots on the road to help pace him and allowing him draft and all of that?
Okay,
should we all get that opportunity to do 24 hours with our own catered bot?
If you can do, it's like people that do race across America, right? They have a support team. There's the unsupported category. It's like a rule set based on whoever's doing. I don't know what the unofficial or the official is. It's like the V. Everstein or the Everstein people. They've decided to come up with this sort of standard. You go by the standard that you do, and if anyone has a problem with it, then they have a problem with it. But most of the time, it's, hey, have fun and do your thing, right?
Yeah. So I guess we'll just see what standards are they doing this attempt by, and who's stamping them official. I guess we'll see.
Right.
That was more so my point of view. It was we had the community pulverizing people.
Yeah.
For game features, and then now everyone's like.
I understand what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah.
Your point is hey, I'm going to try to get the bike upgrade Halo. I don't even know what these things are really called. The Halo bike. Is that what we're talking? The Halo bike is the thing you upgrade 3 or 4 times and then you get the special thing. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not playing dumb. I am dumb on this. I don't care about the bike upgrades right now. If you're like, hey Zwift, I would like to do it in real time. Can you make a bot for me? And if Zwift gives you a bot, then people would be okay with it because Zwift is allowed you to do it. That's kind of what you're saying is hey, if you're just kind of going with the flow and you're getting people to support you, then it shouldn't be a problem. And the community was the community overstepped, in our opinion. I think that was the consensus, is the community overstepped and was over-regulating on a thing that wasn't even being regulated. Yeah. And it's
well, Lee, and Zwift is saying...
I was going to say, they regulated rules that weren't actually rules, and that was the problem.
That was the
thing. They made up their
yeah.
own rules.
Right.
So honestly, there are no rules. So if the dude wants to go for 24 hours, and draft and have a bot made by Zwift, it's game on because there's no rules. Like there's no.
And so so that's what I guess you're saying. He was saying that it's unofficial. So if he wants to present it to the powers that be, they can either go, no, it's unofficial, or it is official.
Posted a link in chat because there is a World Ultra Cycling Association that is kind of like the virtual or the Everesting website.
Okay.
That they are the keepers of ultra cycling records, and they actually have a very in-depth rule set. Like they even talk about if you have like a support van, if that support van rides beside you, it can only ride beside you, hand you something, and it's got to get away from you.
Yeah. There's So then they're probably, do they have virtual rules? Like I'm sure there's.
They do talk about virtual cycling, but they actually don't have a rule set, because what's interesting is the rule set for outdoor was strictly no draft. You can't have anyone near you.
The support vehicle is only to protect you from being hit. And now, what is it? Do they have rules for like people that want to ride with you through towns?
Yeah, there was like no one rides with you. Like
you can't like stay away. Like you're like, hey, stay away from me. Don't support me.
Well, and see what's funny is that kind of got brought up on Vegan Cyclist. He did
He was doing the burrito thing. I saw some of that. Yeah,
he was doing it self-supported, where no one can even help him. And right on like day one, a lady brought him a burrito. And then it was like, he's like, I'm out, because then it turns from self-supported to like
community support.
Yeah, or some, So it's funny because he set out to do self-supported, and then it got ruined by someone offering help. But then he's like, that would be no fun if you were doing this whole thing, because he was advertising it and people were riding with him. Like
I get it that the rule police, like the official, is like, no, you can't get a burrito. But like for his content and who he is, like I've met him in real life.
That was a great series.
It was really cool. I mean, I watched a bunch of it. You just immediately broke the rule. I think it would have crushed him if he would have known early on or later, like after the whole event. And he was like, I was trying to do it, and somebody handed me a burrito, and he took advantage of it, right? So that's the weight of like fun versus serious in that regard.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like I saw several other streamers as well getting on a ride with them, because that, it's fun. It's enjoyable to ride with them. I've done several other supports and other people doing long distance rides like that on Tempest Fugit. So it is fun to do something different. And like lately, with me, I barely do any events on any platform. I'm just training. In the fall, my motivation was racing. Like I could care less about workouts, but I wasn't improving anywhere. I was just holding steady. And now my focus has kind of switched after I had December, January, and February where I weren't riding much. So now training and improving is my focus. So like I don't even care about Zwift races and events or my whoosh. I've been doing my whoosh events solely trying to test the Bluetooth dropouts and replicate them. And that's it. Currently for me, it's just workouts and progressing. That may change in a couple months because I have an event. I think a local group of guys go to the mountains in 5 weeks. And maybe if that's over, I'll get back to racing and just having fun and doing whatever I want. Because, going outdoors, I can't hop off the bike if I get tired and walk upstairs. Like I have to actually finish this 75-mile ride. So,
yeah.
Okay. And I used to find my motivation in the Zwift racing, and I've lost that a little bit. It's hard for me to find fun racing on Zwift anymore, and I don't know. I don't know if that's the racing categories or what it is. I did this running race this weekend with some local friends, and we were in the van for 6 hours, and one of the other guys rides Zwift a lot, and he was commenting to me, and him and I don't race together. We don't talk Zwift that often. And he was saying to me, like, what's Zwift do to their race categories? Like, I used to have fun racing, and I can't have fun racing. I can't find anybody in races. And this just random try guy, local try guy that's just like, I'm kind of frustrated because I can't find anything to ride, and I like riding with people. That I'm just riding group rides now on Zwift and kind of doing steady state stuff because I can't find a decent race. He said, you know, ZRS has me in race categories too high, and I just get my butt kicked every time I go up a hill.
Yeah.
And like he's like, it's just not fun. Yeah. He said I'm tired of finishing mid pack 3 seconds off or 3 minutes off the back and gaining points.
Yeah.
That's and I'm like, okay, like that's a problem.
Yeah.
It is weird too. I did a race, 3 people. I finished second, and I gained 8 points. There was 3 people in the race, and one was 5 minutes behind me doing zone 2.
Yeah, so my motivation. Yeah, my motivation has kind of switched to like I've been really enjoying the Ruby. You know, that was the thing with Zwift is there's not a lot of new roads. There's not a lot of new stuff going on. The things that I used to like are getting stale. They've kind of messed up the racing a little bit. So anything that I do on Zwift, I've experienced 1,000 times now. And at least on Ruby, I'm experiencing new roads. It's the same trainer. It's the same feeling, but I'm at least experiencing new roads and different things, and you can have fun with it. And the garbage truck might hit you from the side, or, you know, somebody might slam on the brakes in front. Like you can at least kind of have fun with it. And their challenges are actually challenging. Like it's hard. Getting into these longer rides. I'm actually riding 90 plus minutes just to do some of the courses.
2-hour ride this morning because it was part of a challenge.
Yeah, I watched it.
It's funny. It's funny. I mean, everyone rides for different reasons, and everyone deals with stress differently. I think because we all ride, we kind of ride to relieve stress. And I think sometimes, like me personally, when I sort of lose motivation and get stressed with family and life, riding is the last thing I want to do, but it's probably what I should be doing.
Yeah.
And I know, like, we've all known each other long enough. Like, Brian, you wear your emotions on your sleeve, and your streams are kind of humorous, because that group ride you were talking about earlier, I was like, oh man, Brian stressed the F out.
Well, I wanted to do a race because I was like, look, I just paid $20 that I forgot that I needed to.
You were like grumpy-assed.
Yeah, because I had to do Zwift. I was like, I paid $20. I'm gonna get my money's worth. I think I'm gonna do like 5 races or whatever.
Near the end of the ride, or actually, it wasn't even there was 20 minutes left. I'm pretty sure there was a fuck this shit, I'm out. And I was like,
believe that.
But it's like
on YouTube.
And that's the thing is, what's happened is like you're stressed, you're working a ton, you've not been on Discord for like a week and a half, so you're obviously working.
Okay.
You know, and then you're trying to come on, you're trying to sort of de-stress. You jump on into a bike race, you know, a group ride, and you're like, this is not helping the situation. This is not being fun.
You're right. Okay, so I'll explain. Let's get some details here, because
I remember rides. It will never help.
Well, no, it's not. It wasn't even that. It wasn't the stick together rides. It wasn't that we turned left instead of going down after the little climb to the chateau. It was like we're going up the Mont Ventoux climb, right? And so we had like another like 8 minutes or so. It was the coffee was not available because I had jumped right in, and it was like coffee wasn't available. And then it was like 30 minutes into the ride, which was another, like when you're 30 minutes into the ride, you have another 30 minutes. It's a 60-minute ride. And I'm saving it for the climb. And then I go to the climb and it's not available. Like it like seriously said, coffee not available. And that's where I was like,
they announced in the group ride, they're like, everyone use your coffee stop.
So you can't, for some reason, I had the available coffee ride, or the coffee, whatever the thing is. And then it was grayed out, not available. I didn't use it. It just was unavailable. And then when you finish the banner, it was the banner thing. It wasn't the 60 minutes. It was the banner for the route. Then the time had to expire. So we crossed over the banner, turned left, and was going up the steep hill, and we were still all to stick together. Then the time expired. Then you can use the coffee. And I was just like, what? Why are all these things that are not like, there's the inconsistency is what drives me nuts with that game. That's what drives me nuts. It's like they are so inconsistent. If the group ride physics are different than the regular road physics, and there's a race physics, I couldn't do a race because I was like, oh, I'm going to do a race. Whatever, I'm going to do a race. 0, 0, like the groups that I could go in were 0 and 0, and then the one that I was blocked out on had 5 riders, and I couldn't ride it because of my race score. And I was like, okay, group ride starts in 1 minute, so I got into the group ride.
and you've raced like once in the last 8 weeks, and your race score is like still
I don't even know. So it's like
or something.
it's like I haven't been on. I did the one race that was the free trial thing, which was like 60 kilometers or whatever. Yeah, I haven't raced a lot. I want to go race because racing is motivating for me. It totally didn't let me didn't race. Blah blah blah, and that's where I was like, I just want to tell people to turn off their squirrels. Instead of being like, oh, it's so great, and oh, I got my Scotty, and I got this thing, and the bike, and this, and it's so awesome. And it's like, it doesn't do that for me. And it sounds like, hey, just have fun. The things I want to have fun with, I should have just done. Even though I just paid for Zwift again.
Yeah, Casey and you are right. I don't know what's up with the racing. Finding populated Zwift races nowadays is extremely hard.
Yeah, it was a Friday night, so of course there's not going to be anybody. Like, and
well, it's harder than even normal because I'm riding a little earlier than you. Normally, I can find at least a handful of people.
Yeah,
and
before their Friday night starts, like on the West Coast.
And I've been riding at like 4 to 5 Eastern time, which is earlier than normal, and it's still not really populated, which is surprising because I don't remember that in the past. I remember always being able to find someone to race.
Used to be, early mid-evening North America, you could find decent ones. It's still a challenge now. If you're not Europe prime time, it's hard to find them now.
Mm-hmm. And there's something to riding with people. Like if it was bots, maybe I wouldn't have done it. Like if it was a bot ride.
And I know it's not broken into categories, but I'm finding Ruby rides often when I'm looking for things that have as many people in them as my category. So it may be the whole ride instead. Like if you added up all the categories in Zwift still has more people, but I'm only joining the B pin, and the B pin only has 7 riders. I can go to Ruby and find 12 riders. We may drop a few of them. It may only be 4 off the front, but I'm actually a little more motivated by that than I am on Zwift. So,
well, speaking of Ruby races, next Sunday is another of their Ruby big races. Posted the link, and it's mostly downhill.
Yeah, but I think we should just stay on. Let's just stay on Ruby. Great. Let's stay on Ruby for a little bit because I think the update happened after our last show.
Well, I was gonna say, I reckless speculated Sunday on our show. I said, I'm predicting that the HUD update is going to be very soon because they have it, and it was the next day.
Yeah,
it was the next day that they put it out.
And it
two
is
thumbs
amazing.
up for Ruby. It's
really
a great,
amazing.
It's a
love
great update. Yeah.
Yeah. It's what custom.
Some
so
people
let's go
don't
over,
like it.
Some people don't like it. Yeah, but those people are weird. There's customization. So like not total customization, but you can hide certain areas. You can increase the size of the entire thing, like the HUD. You can sort of turn on little features. I think you can turn on percentage of FTP versus just FTP. You can turn on gradient, the name of the course on like the gradient part. But the biggest thing that I loved is the profile has been fixed and it's more visually appealing, so that you can see, hey, this is a downhill and this is an uphill, and this is throughout the entire course. It's not a scrolling, because Bike Terror does a scrolling on their thing, but the Ruby profile is much better, and I like it a lot more.
Yeah, the profile shows the scale a lot better. It's a lot more clear now when a big hill's coming versus a small hill, that sort of thing. The overall layout, I think they nailed, because Ruby's best feature is the awesome video that goes along with it. Yeah. And they have put a lot of stuff on the screen in a very clean way that isn't cluttering up the video. And you can make it bigger if you're struggling with it or something like that. But and the number of data fields available, you only have 7 places to put fields in that bottom corner, but you can pick from probably upwards of 20 plus options for data fields.
That's the like your traditional metric field. Like there's the one big one, and then they had, so it's 7 for everyone for the audio only audience. Is you have like the main one, which is usually watts.
Yeah.
Then you have 3 fields underneath that are like a 3x2 setup.
Yeah.
And so you can choose
6 littles.
Yeah, and you can customize all of those. Kind of like what Zwift has just done is sort of customize that.
It kind of feels like a Garmin screen, right? You got the big number at the top, and you got 6 little numbers at the bottom, but you have so many attributes that you can choose.
They moved it to the bottom, which you're right on with Casey about how you're focused on the road. Like I barely looked at the metrics on Ruvi on the previous update because it was in the top left corner. I was like, man, I was so looking at the profile a lot. I'm just a profile guy because I like to know how long my effort is going to be here, there, whatever. And they moved it to the bottom, and so you can glance to the left a little bit and see it and go, okay, that's kind of what I'm doing. Hey, here's my cadence, and you can customize that. You can also hide that and just have the profile. And on the far right, they have the gradient, which scrolls. That's the scrolling thing. So your avatar little dot, and it shows everyone else on the course. So you can see like, hey, this is the group I'm on. So if it groups up and has little numbers, it's like 5. That means 5 people are together, right? You can also have draft indicator in the top center, which is very cool, which a lot of people don't have, is to go, hey, this is the draft. And Lee's ride today, he was in a stick together group ride and was talking about how far he was behind the lead, and then how much ahead of the lead.
Interesting, because I've never been. Well, speaking of like motivation, I didn't even want to ride this morning. I had a 2-hour route that I needed to complete as part of a challenge, so I forced myself to get on the bike, and they had a ride with Sam Long. So for people in the triathlon world probably knows who Sam Long is. Cyclists probably don't, but Sam Long is a quite high-end professional triathlete. So they had a Ruvi Sam Long group ride where they were riding part of the St. George Ironman course. And my ride ended, and it popped up in my screen after my ride ended saying, do you want to continue? And I was like, sure, why not? It late joined me right up to the group, and I rode for another 20 plus minutes than I expected to ride. And it was fun. I normally don't care about people, but it was like a fun little keep together group ride.
Mark that tape.
They have an indicator that says how many seconds you're behind or ahead of the leader and what they do. So Ruvi Keep Together is not a rubber band. They hinder your wattage output the farther you get it, or the farther you get ahead of the leader.
Okay. Wait, explain that. Explain that.
So it took us a while because everyone in stream was like, what is this number? Because it said pulling 24%. So when I got ahead of the leader and I actually did a little attack up the hill.
Right, I remember that, yeah.
It said 23%. It was removing 23% of my output. So I was still getting ahead of the leader.
That's like a negative number.
It's just like a governor. It's like putting a governor on you. Like,
So if you want, you can get away from the group, but you're hindered because your wattage isn't.
So it's slowly going to bring you back.
Yeah, it's slowly going to.
Oh, that's a cool. That's a cool little algorithm.
When you got behind, it was difficult because Sam was riding.
He was like 1.5. Yeah, he was riding like 1.5.
And he was riding really slow, and he was at the very end of the group. But if you got behind him, it gave you a wattage bonus to catch up to the leader. Like the goal of the group ride was that you rode with the leader all the time.
But it wasn't really influencing the pace of the group leader.
No,
like you couldn't do more effort and pull him faster.
Yeah.
It was just, it would pull you back.
There was guys kilometers ahead, but they were probably at a 40%, wattage.
It visually looked a lot better because when I was watching Lee do his thing, and I was like, man, is that because it was on like an open road. So there was like in the video, there were like cars driving next to him. And I was like, man, is that a real rider? Because sometimes you can see an AR rider and then a real rider, like on those Lake Como and those Italian rides. You can see a real rider. You're like, that looks kind of real. Is this real? Because the way that it rides on the road and the way the shadows work, I was like, man, that's kind of hard to tell if that's real or not.
Well, I turned off the name because I had everyone's names on so you could tell that they were AR.
Oh, right,
and I
turned it off.
And if someone is 20 meters ahead of you, you honestly can't really tell that they're not a real person. Like the avatars are
part
good
of the
enough.
Update. I think that, well, I don't know if that was part of the update, but the part of the update that they said was the video playback was better. Like the video, like they had worked better on the smoothing of the edges, I think, and the video playback because they're using like the Windows. I think
the St. George partial chorus looked fantastic.
Yeah,
the video was like unbelievably
really good,
excellent.
Yeah, there's been a few times like mid-race in Ruby that I'm kind of by myself, or maybe I'm pulling on the front of my group, and you'll be going up a hill and you'll see a rider in the distance, and I'm not sure if it's if someone on the video, right? If it's part of the video or if it's actually someone in the game riding, until I look at the riders nearby to see if there's somebody that close to me. Like that's like I can't really tell by looking up the road somebody who's maybe 200 meters ahead of me. I can't really tell if it's a person like in the game or if it's the Google car was passing a rider on the side of the road.
The big indicator is usually like all the avatars are in the drops, and most people like in a Fondo, like Lee was right, is most people are like a little bit more casual. But yeah,
in the downhills.
Now I want to go try one of those group rides though, because to me it takes some of that. You can't just turn your brain off in the keep together group ride now, right? Like you still have to make some attempt to stay with the group, and
it was difficult because he was riding at like 1.1 watts per kg, and it was honestly very hard.
Yeah, he was
to ride. He was
slowly moving along.
The thing I noticed with Ruby when they did the upgrade, and this is why I thought it was so good, was most times that I've switched from one platform to another, it takes me 40, 50 miles, maybe more, to be like, I'm looking around for what information I want. I'm trying to like, where's the draft? Oh, I like to get that muscle memory, right? Of I need to look up to see this. I need to look over here for this. Like it took me 10 minutes in Ruby, and I knew where all the data was. It was clean. There's really only like two places to look on the screen. You're either looking in the bottom corner where all the data is, and I think other than that, the gradient is somewhere else. That's it.
I think I'm with you.
It was easy to adapt to, really.
Yeah, it was really what I really liked. I think the biggest feature that's kind of not going to be mentioned a lot because a lot of people want fields on and off is the resizer. Being able to resize it, and it's people with the wide clutch. Wow, so Mark Jackson, friend of the show, he has like a ultra wide monitor, and I was watching him do it, and he had a full video, and it gives you the ultra wide, and the way that it resizes with that, it doesn't sort of like leave a gap. It really plays well in what kind of customization you want with that resizing. So yeah.
I was accelerating downhill on a 2% grade.
Oh yeah. I was doing that. Oh, I was riding with Bjorn on Tuesday. That's when I did the update, is I rode with Bjorn on Tuesday.
I just remember Brian's last Mad Zwift stream where you were slowing down.
You can't stop pedaling, man. You can't stop pedaling.
You cannot ever stop pedaling. Yeah. I was with people. I was passing people because I'm fat, and I was whipping their ass on the downhill.
I still don't understand how that works.
The Ruby Facebook rant too was going down this huge hill on Ruby, and what did he say? I think virtual gearing I don't have virtual gears. I have real gears, and I ran out and I couldn't keep up with the virtual gear people because my trainer wouldn't give me any resistance. And I'm like, no, that's what happens outside, right? At some point you can't spin it. That's real. That happens.
I have a gravel bike on the trainer. My gearing is 4310, and I spin out at 47 kilometers an hour. And in Ruby, it's bang on. Yeah, and I've been in that situation in downhill races, like where it's gone in a race where I've spun out at 47 and guys are pedaling past me, and I'm like, well, that's realistic. It's exactly what happens in real life.
I think those people all have the indoor experience, right? They have the muscle memory of another platform that no other platform will really let you completely spin out like that. Ruby's the most realistic from that.
I feel that the kicker somehow goes into negative resistance. I don't know how, because it spins out.
It does.
Like in Zwift, there's always this underlying bit of resistance, because I know I can still pedal in Zwift on downhills and put out 200 watts on a downhill. Ruby is like, you got nothing. I'm doing 120 cadence and I'm done. Like there's no wattage coming out because I can't spin that fast.
I don't remember the exact numbers, but if you go in and look at the packets that Zwift sends to your trainer on a downhill, it always sends half. So if you're going negative 10% downhill, it's telling your trainer negative 5%. Anytime you're going downhill, Zwift is broadcasting half.
Why?
And they cap it at a certain number. So you're right. You won't spin out on that. Where Ruvi broadcasts the number that is on the GPX file, right? So if you're going down a negative 12% grade, that's what it tells the kicker. And for those of you that have been on a kicker for a long time, it feels like you're doing a spin down on the old school kicker, right? Like there's no resistance. The only thing pushing back is the weight of the flywheel. There is nothing holding it back. And it feels broken the first time it happens.
Why does Zwift do that?
Well, I think Zwift was initially built as a training program. And as a training program, they want you to pedal all the time. And they didn't want you coasting down a hill see, that's the thing. Ruvi being real routes, a lot of the downhills are like 45 seconds. Where in Zwift, like the Zwift, you're riding downhill for 10 minutes. They don't want people coasting for 10 minutes. They want the ability.
They didn't, or they don't ever?
They don't ever want people to coast.
Yeah, I'll defend Zwift a little bit on this one because Zwift's been, we're 10 years into it, right? When they started, smart trainers were not that common among Zwifters. A lot of people started on dumb trainers and power meters, so when you were in that setup, you didn't feel gradient. So the guy with a power meter on a dumb trainer was going to destroy the downhill if you spun out the guys on smart trainers. Now, I would say an overwhelming majority of the people that are competing on these platforms are on some sort of smart trainer. So if you and Ruvi may have this issue, there's probably just most of the Ruvi races I join say smart trainer only. A person on a power meter that's able to put out 400 watts with a negative 12% gradient is going to kick your butt.
So on the controllable
I never actually
part,
thought of that way because
you bring up a good point, but go ahead, go Lee, and then I want to ask my question.
Because I started on Zwift on rollers with a power meter, and I could produce 300 watts, 24 hours, like all the time. So at downhill, uphill, whatever, I was always producing 300 watts, and I never actually thought about on a smart trainer, you would have zero resistance. And so, I could see Zwift implementing that as a even playing field type quality of life improvement where you wouldn't get, but now, like I said, it's 2025.
Doesn't Zwift know that, this is my question. Doesn't Zwift know that you're on a smart trainer?
It should know, like if they wanted to fix that without limiting events, that you could still be like, if you're on a power meter at X amount of gradient, X speed, we're just not going to allow you to put out more power than this, right? No matter what power you give me, I'm not going to give it to you in the game because you're not on a smart trainer. But I mean, Zwift is really the only platform or one of the few that isn't making most races a majority of races a requirement to have a smart trainer.
Yeah, but I'm just saying from free ride perspective, like
they know whether you're on a smart trainer.
Then why don't they do the hey, if you're on a 10% descent, you get 10% because you're on a smart trainer. So we're gonna the controllable setting, right? Not the power setting and not the cadence setting, but the controllable setting. And if it says, hey, smart trainer, then if you're not, it's sending you the 10% gradient. So if you pedal, you're going to get that. If you're on some controllable that's not a smart trainer, is that right or am I not right?
Well, somebody's going to cry not fair. What's going to happen is Aunt Bev's going to be cruising down the hill.
I don't care. Oh,
Uncle Johnny's going to sprint around her at 300 watts, and Aunt Bev's going to raise a ticket to say, I tried to chase him, and I couldn't get more than 150 watts.
I'm sorry, Kate. I'm sorry.
I mean, that's what's going to happen.
Let's listen to the people that care more about unrealistic things instead of making it real. Yeah. And so it aligns with everything else in life, right? Because I forget, it's not it's my fault. I'm sorry. Yeah. I apologize.
So I understand why they do it, and I think it's a tough challenge to overcome. But like Ruvi and a lot of other platforms, when they do smart trainer only races, I think they overcome some of that. And at least in those instances, I'd like to see gradient be gradient, period, right? Just it is what it is.
And Ruvi's doing smart trainer only races and getting 3,000 people in races.
Yeah, and so this leads into
that's amazing.
This leads into my thing. I was doing the Tour of Alps because that's the challenge now, the Tour of Alps thing. and I did it with Bjorn, and we were going to, for some reason, we're trying to figure out why my power output is better than his, like, or the weight or whatever. So like, we're still trying to figure out the physics to a certain extent. Cause like, I'm just sort of like low cadence grinding up, and I feel like I'm riding away from him. And I'm only doing like 3.4 whatever watts per kilo. But on the descent, so forget that. The descent though is the thing where it's like there's auto braking, which was kind of cool, and there's a lot of switchbacks. And so like going into a corner, it's slowing you, and you're like, I'm having to learn how to take advantage of this sort of like the thing that we're talking about is the descent, but also pedaling out of the descent and learning the games and learning the courses for potential to race, which is what I liked. Yeah. In Mark Tape, it's 45 minutes into the thing. RGT is that sort of like learning the courses to strategize and use it as a technique to get better, you know, because you might not just have the physical abilities, but you might know the bike or the game better. What is going on? Is somebody taking a shower? Who's taking a shower? It was a flute?
I heard flutes.
Flute's gone, I think.
But yeah, like the race next week for Ruby, next Sunday, has so far 354 people signed up.
Yeah.
And it is a smart trainer only race. I don't see people complaining on the Ruby forums going,
hey, Ruby seems like ruling with an iron fist in a good way. It's like, hey, we're doing this event. There's plenty of other events for you. You can go do it.
So we all like people in racing. We all like trying new platforms. And it's even better when you can do that for free. So got to give a little plug out here for Bike Terra's got some OTR events now that are going to be on the schedule on a regular basis that are going to have real people in them. If you guys want to try out OTR with try out Bike Terra with real people, go look it up. I know their Friday veterans race, which is like an age group race. They've got over there. I think
that was a pretty big announcement, right? Wasn't that from the OTR? Yeah, to go to Bike Terra.
So
it's on the same
I'm looking
route
forward to that.
Is it a Friday event? I'd have to fry during
Friday,
the day.
North America lunchtime, like 1 o'clock for me Central, I think.
It's 2 p.m. for me.
Yeah. So I'm excited
I'm
for
doing
that.
the math. Is that like 10 for me? 10 o'clock?
11. 2 hours. Yeah.
Be 11.
2? 11.
But I'm looking forward to that. The OTR events have been decently populated when they were on MyRoosh. Yeah. So I'm hoping that they carry a lot of those people over to Bike Terra because it's not an investment to try it on Bike Terra.
No, it's free. And you can, and they've done some visual physics, but they're also working on the actual physics. They have a cool thing on their visual. They have a little side to side movement, like this sort of like, not so much the Zwift forward and back a little bit. And they have avatar. The avatar sort of moves a little bit, sometimes a little bit more exaggerated. You have a little bit of hip shakes, but the little sort of like, because not everyone rides perfectly straight on a straight line like they're on rails, like we do in most games.
Yeah.
This one has like it is still on rails, but they visually have this sort of like little side to side, which I really like in Bike Terra. And
that's totally realistic.
Yeah. And so they have, what else do they have in there? They have lap counter. They have a real map. They have a Google map. They try to do the terraform of the area that sort of aligns with it. Here's 2 new things. Okay. They have a Mac app now.
Oh.
Because they're dealing with the disconnection of the the Windows app is coming. There's a Windows app as well because of the reconnect of your devices, and so they've moved to actually having a full-time app. And so those are being worked on. So it's like,
but do they have an aero percentage meter?
They do. They have an aero percentage meter. It's a little shield with the wind. I'm not a fan of it personally.
Do you know when
I only brought that up because
I'm not a fan of it.
How do I know when they're braking? Other than the obvious brake light.
Speed is now red. Highlights red when it brakes, which is in the bottom right.
Which is different than the red light on your seat post that lights up when it brakes.
Yeah, because the reason why we brought that up to the developers, shout out to Anslo and Matt, when you are on the like the first person where it's showing you the bars, or you're far away, you can't see the brake light. but now, so they put the red indicator in the speed, which is on the bottom right. There you go.
I did a bike tour ride earlier this week. It was like a 56-kilometer ride around my area. I forgot how hard the actual hills were. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was really cool. And I also did 3 days of single dipping. How about that?
No way.
3 rides.
Wow.
SRC and then 2 Zwift rides. Single dip.
Let's get to SRC. You want to go ahead, Casey, and then we're going to get into SRC.
I was going to give him a hard time. So was that by choice or something malfunctioned and you were limited one at a time, right? But this wasn't by choice, right? This was a malfunction.
No, it was
voluntary.
On. Zwift is the quickest to load. Loaded up, started my ride, explored around. I got my Hilly KOM jersey forward and reverse, and off we went.
There you go.
Changed man.
So we're segueing into the other free app. There's only like those 2 free apps, right? No.
Crank Up.
Crank Up is free, but that's kind of
and all those other ones still.
Rolla actually looks really good, but it's so hard to get connected.
Can't stand using just my phone.
I did it with RGT, and I like.
When you just said that Zwift loads the fastest, Rolla is like 8 minutes to start a ride.
It's more than that, because sometimes I couldn't even connect. Like if you're not on the same Wi-Fi, it's whatever. My Whoosh, Mr. My Whoosh over here. You did this SRC, yeah?
SRC this week was great for me personally. This course and then the Columbia course there, I forget what it was, February final. Perfect setup for me. It's long, steady. Gradient's very steady. Doesn't change very much. Perfect. And even though we had I think it was a 5-minute climb today, maybe 4 to 5 minute climb. I don't remember the exact number. Everyone was scared of the 13.5. Actually, it was 14 kilometers to the finish of the race. So it was last week. I did 4.7 and I was 10th over it maybe. Today I did 4.3 and I was about the same place, 10 and 11th across of the first climb called the Aquarium Climb. Then we hit the final climb, 14 kilometers. Took me 38 minutes for the actual climb, which was 13.5 kilometers, and then it's another 500 to the finish. Took the victory by 49 seconds.
That was the last time I did SRC. They only had those climbs.
Yeah.
It was only the climbing races. It was like ride. It was like 40 kilometers, and it always had like a 45-minute climb at the end.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just gonna try to get to the base of the climb, and then it was like, it's 3 a.m. Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. This race was perfect setup for me. Like that was the exact effort. If it was any surging, California, the levels constantly up and down, up and down. I can't do it. But Columbia and this, I don't even know how to say it. Jebel Fayette or something like that.
Jebel Hafid.
Yeah, that it. Whatever it was, there's 2 of them. Jebel Hass or
Charlebois. Is that how we're? I don't know. That's different.
I forget which one it was, but those are perfect for me because they're steady. I probably will get moved up to Cat 4. That'll probably be my thing because I did 4.3 average, 4.3 for the whole climb.
Okay.
And I'm kind of guessing that 4.2 range is where people get moved up because I've seen some people hit 4.3 for extended efforts and then they get moved up. So I'm guessing that I will be, even though the VO2 for me is, not there. But
for the people that don't know, Brian won today because he didn't say it on the show. He won, right? Am I correct?
49 seconds.
49 seconds on the climb.
Got TV time too. It was fun.
You got TV time. They brought you on
on the broadcast. And then here's the funny thing: is I set my webcam up on top of my monitor to give me a down angle.
Yeah.
Well, as I was standing up on one of the little bumps we had to go to, I bumped my shelf. It fell down, so I just grabbed it and set it up. Well, here it's pointed at my belly. So when my Whoosh put me on the thing, you just got my belly on the live stream.
Perfect.
Made me laugh watching the back.
Perfect. But. So how have there been any updates with my Whoosh? Has there been anything that's like, hey, this is sort of like game changing, or we're making improvements? Because you've been two things for people that haven't been paying attention to the show or new to the show. You've been having dropouts personally.
Yeah.
dropouts. Mm-hmm. You don't know what, you haven't figured it out, but you didn't have any dropouts here. And then there's also, there was the big issue with the males race 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago or something like that?
Yeah. Yes. Luckily I was working, so I didn't participate.
Okay.
It was a MyWoosh server issue across the board. It wasn't SRC specific. It was free ride, everything you tried doing. The women's race was perfect. Like, I think it starts 2 hours, maybe 3 hours before ours. I forget exactly when they start, but it was fine. It was just that time frame, for whatever reason, they had server technical issues on the back end that had, some people were able to finish. Some people obviously couldn't get in, couldn't do any rides. And what they did is just threw out the whole entire SRC.
They nullified the race for the men's. And then they redid it the people that competed in the race that were nullified, they were then they could race. You could race with anybody. Anyone could still enter, from what I understand, right? Or no, it was only the people that got out, and then they had double the prize money, correct?
Yeah, the next week's SRC, right?
Yeah. Next week, because I raced the week after, but I didn't enter in the week 2, so I wasn't double prize money eligible. So let's say you, Kellison, had entered in, but you got kicked out. You got had all the issues, and then you raced the qualifier number 3. You were eligible for double prize money. So say if you finished second, you got double. Whereas if I finished third, I just got one, just a single third.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they just offered double prize money the next week
for the people
anyone who had experienced the problem the previous.
Oh, okay. That was this.
Yeah. So you had to have been in the problem race and race the following week, and you were eligible for double prize money.
So if you were in the money and it was nullified, then you race against other people, and then you didn't get in the money.
You didn't get
because
you only got money if you did good the week after, not the week out. The people who won the race, where half the people disappeared in the race, they got nothing unless they came back the next week.
Oh, okay.
If they came back the next week and were in the money, they got double whatever they earned. But
I think there was a little issue with like announcing that there was double money, so a lot of people entered.
Everybody thought,
and then there was a lot of people, and they're like,
they had to clarify.
They had to clarify. Well, then that affects the people that win double money, because then they're like, let's say there's like
more people registered,
there's more people racing and more people to take your spot. Oh, that's kind of weird.
So then you got to play like nice teammate, right? Like if you're in the double money week and you're like, I'm not eligible for double money, but my teammate is, like, you got to pull them and be like, hey, give me 10% of your winnings, right? Like I'll help you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But
but I
think MyWoosh handled it the best way they could.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I think they did a good job of handling it.
I mean, for a free game where you can race and win money, prize money, I think it's you kind of just go with the flow on that, right?
They were quick to acknowledge it. They were quick to come up with a solution. They were, I wasn't even close. I didn't even read up on it or anything, and it was pretty clear and quick to me as an outsider. Like, I knew what was going on, and it made sense to me.
Now, was it the same amount of people racing in the double race money, even though they might not have got the double race money or the double prize money, than this week? Did that carry over? Like, hey, I enjoyed trying to win the double money, even though I wasn't in the double money, and I'm going to race this week.
You're only allowed to do the finals if you've done 2 qualifiers. So say if they showed up in week 3.
This was a final. This is because it's the last weekend of a month, so it's the finals. Right. Okay, so okay.
Yeah. So I mean, they can come back next week and give it a go.
Which that was the other thing they did, right? Is anybody who had signed up for that week, or maybe had started that we had joined the starting pin, automatically that counted as a race
credit towards the final. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Toward the final eligibility,
right? Because from what I understand, for people that don't know, SRC is like it's every 4 weeks a month, 3 that are like the races, and then there's a final on the final week of the month, right? Isn't that how it works? So it's like you do one of those, then you can race on the finals week, which is the monthly finals.
Yeah, the final is obviously the last Sunday of every month. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So there could be 4, or there could be 3. It depends on how the Sundays fall, how many weeks are in the month. But you have to do 2 qualifying races, and then you can do the final. And the final has team money. So like my team had 5 people, and my team also won because we had I think it was me first, and like a 3rd or 4th, and then a 7th. and it goes off. Like we had a team of 5,
mm-hmm.
and it goes off the first 3 times. All 5 get money. They split it evenly, but the first 3 times count. So those first 3 guys, we all finished in the top 10. It was going to be kind of hard to beat us, and all 5 will get. I think it divides out 288. So the 5 people on my team will get 288. I'll get 288 for the win, and then I think $30 for the King of the Mountain. But,
so to break that down for those that to understand how this works, I think is you can get individual money every single week.
Yes.
But only the finals pays team money. And
correct.
So and then that's where it comes down to the 5 and the 3. So like you winning this week and having teammates that did well, you've got
a pool of
you've got team money and individual money coming this week. Where had you won last week, you would have just had individual money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's an incentive to race with a team. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's exactly it. Like,
so find a team.
For getting on a team, because we had 7 teams in Cat 5, and they pay out the 7 teams. So everyone that was on a team this week, I think there might have been maybe 8 people that weren't registered with the team. So every team got some sort of prize money.
Okay.
And I don't know how it breaks down. I just know, that's essentially how it is.
And I think My Whoosh is doing that right too, because basically, being a consistent participant, you have to do 2 of the usually 3, right? So
yeah,
lead up events,
2 out of 3.
Final,
you have to do 2 out of 3,
and then you essentially get double payout. You have the potential for a double payout on the 4th event because you get the team payout and the individual. So it's incentivizing people to participate more often, right? It's building that participation by doing it. The only time you can sit out 2 a month is when it's a 5 Sunday month, right?
Right.
Yeah. And something else with My Whoosh that is gaining more traction with
this was a 5 Sunday month. Was it? No, it's a 4 Sunday month. Sorry.
I think it was 4. Yeah.
It's 4.
The teasers that My Whoosh has posted, the first one said the big one's coming back, something along that line. So the big one's back, and then it had another short video of someone basically plugging on a trainer and getting on it. We as in the My Whoosh little circle are guessing it's My Whoosh Championships, which I didn't know anything about it. Looking into it, it's like a week-long race. There's daily prizes, there's GC, there's a lot of money like every day you can get out of this, but it's like legit crazy 70 kilometers, like long races, and it's 7 days. That's the way it was set up before. So we've been talking,
that's cool.
Just kind of speculating that I think last time it was $1 million given out in that week. If I remember right, I read the thing, but I can't remember. That was several days ago. But May 12th, it's May 12th or May 15th, we'll get more details. That basically the details out of it. So that could be a lot of excitement. I won't be able to do it because of if it starts at when it did last year, or the last time I did it in 2023, it'll start at 4 a.m. And if it's a 70-kilometer race and you have a 45-minute climb, I can't do it.
4 a.m. Eastern?
4 a.m. Eastern for me. That's when it started.
Good. Sounds like fun for us, Lee.
Jeez, man.
That's the part that makes it hard.
1 a.m. I just stay up.
My Whoosh, right? Like, I'm not getting up that early for a week.
No.
I think it's harder for you guys this time. It'd be easier. Like, Lee and I would just stay up. Like,
I could stay up till 1 a.m., race for a couple hours, and then go to bed.
For a week?
No.
Yeah, for sure.
1 day.
Of course.
1 day.
1 day.
Saturday morning, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm looking real quick at the countries. So today for participation, Colombia had 36 riders for SRC, and this is the men's. This is all men's. 36 from Colombia, 20 Australia, 18 Poland, and 16 United States, 13 New Zealand, 12 Sweden, Belgium 12, United Kingdom 12, Germany 10. And then it gets down like, single riders through there.
And Colombia is the same timing issue as the U.S. is, right?
I think they're mountain. I think they're central time zone.
Yeah, so they're middle of the night still.
They're middle of the night.
They're just more dedicated than
they might be
Eastern.
Americans. They might be Eastern time zone too, because the way that South America has shifted over.
Yeah,
and they're kind of like at the top.
They fall under.
We all have the internet. We could look it up, but we're not going to. We're just going to keep guessing.
Yeah,
but
it's Central Time, Casey.
There you go, Central Time. I think I had Central. Didn't I say that? Yeah.
A bunch of boomers looking up time zones.
It's Brazil usually. That's like because I work with people in Brazil, so it's like they're like 2 hours north of. They're like 7 hours ahead.
I've just got the wall of clocks up here.
Well, we got time zone talk always on our friend of the show, Felty.
Time zones are hard.
Yeah. We can get out of here, but I do. Hey, can you bring up that photo that I posted in the Discord? I want to talk about motivation. We'll leave on a high note. I
thought he was bringing up my photo. I'm like, oh no.
No, don't show his photo. Show my photo. So I got this yesterday. So this is part of the motivation stuff. This is a photo from April 26th, which was yesterday, 10 years ago, 2016. This is finishing a race, which is in my area. It was the Wente Road Race, which is there's a vineyard called Wente, but there's a climb. This is one of the sort of mountain ranges where a lot of windmills are in California. So like a pretty significant climb. So long enough to where it's steep enough. It was 3 laps or so. So you climb up and then you go over the overpass, blah, blah, blah. This was one of the hardest challenges I ever did for myself. I was like, because I used to drop out of races a lot. There you go. Hey, we all start somewhere. I was getting back into racing. I wasn't on a team. I was just riding. You can see the windmills up there, right? Overweight, wearing a wind stopper. This is like April 26th of 2016. 2015. I don't know why I was wearing that base layer. I was like new to cycling again, and I was like,
Look
how
floppy it is.
It was cold in the morning. Yeah, it's super floppy. Look at that. Yeah, not even aero, nothing. I finished this. I was cramping so bad because you know me with my cramps. I came out there was like a guy who was like a bike touring guy. I finished ahead of him, but I got dropped on the first climb, and I did like the last 2 laps by myself. And I finished, and I was just so proud of myself. And I was like, this was sort of like, hey, I can still do this. I can finish a race. Right?
Finding your motivation.
It's finding your motivation. Yeah. So everybody, there you go.
So Zav, you can pull my picture up for motivation too.
Oh, yeah.
Mine was literally yesterday. Literally.
I do want to give some kudos. You saying that right there, the bike tour guy, was right there with you or whatnot. I saw a guy streaming on Saturday during a double century.
Yeah.
That was definitely
not. This is a dolphin short crew. Nice.
Yeah. And those guys, like the Uncle Jeremys or Johnnies or whatever, and Aunt Bevs that are doing crazy things that I physically can't do. That is also motivating too. Like this guy, I rode for 2 hours. He was already on.
Yeah.
6 hours later, I'm doing laundry. Walk by, and he's still riding. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So this is. We go run this race. It's an 80-mile running relay race, and that's why I'm clean shaven today. Is we all have fun with our beards for this race, and my wife won't let me go in public with that.
Dude, you should have kept that, dude. Is that you in the
pretty bad.
That's me in the pink shorts. Yeah, that's me in the pink shorts. So dude, this is like a guy's weekend.
Dude, that is so. I love that look. You should rock that all the time. Now I know why your wife doesn't use the rice cooker.
You look
this is the rice cooker guy.
You want to give someone a roundhouse kick to the head.
Yeah. So this was a motivation for me, right? Like this is 8 good guys out just having fun. We pile in a 12-passenger van, do this 80-mile relay thing, right? We don't run that much. We just go out and have fun. And it's like it's just finding your thing to have fun with. That's your motivation.
Well, it's totally a fun thing. And I think a lot of times we get wrapped up in training, always trying to like make gains and get better. And I think sometimes you just have to do things that are fun. Like regardless of, hey, I'm going to go for a bike ride. This is probably not going to meet my training schedule, but it's fun and I'm enjoying it.
And there's people that love training. I was in a heated conversation, is what we call it on my stream. There's people that really like training. John Shin, who's a friend of the show, and
18 to 20 hours a week.
Yeah, they fit it in. They really like it. I used to like it. I haven't found it again. But maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. But yeah, anything that you can find a little motivation. So if you want to do your little roller skate bike upgrade, do that.
So the racing in the middle of the night was definitely proven to me today that I'm not up for it, because we got home from this at 1:30 a.m.
Oh goodness!
I had to get up, be moving this morning at like 7 a.m. and I'm exhausted.
Yeah,
completely exhausted. But it was a ton of fun.
Right on. All right, let's end on the high note. We good?
We're good.
Yeah, that was a good one. All right, thanks everybody. We don't need to take any questions. Nobody really has any good questions. Come on. Yeah.
Nobody has questions.
Nobody has good questions. They always have like random questions. I'm just joking. We love chat. We love the viewers.
How we build viewers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Idiots.
Yeah. We're gonna post this in the Zwift Riders. What is it? Is it the Zwift Riders one? What's the one that people just have the most chaotic questions
honestly,
and answers?
It's social media in general.
Yeah, right.
All of the Facebook Zwift racers, Zwift riders.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Ruby
even has got some people. Some people hate
Brian's
the
all
new
about the
UI.
Brian's getting asked by a coworker. He's got to go. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
All right. Great show, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Have a great racing training week. Have fun week. Talk to you guys next time. Bye.
Hey, see ya.